Hello, and welcome to Rethinking Our History, where we seek to shed a light on events that have been forgotten and covered up, and to make us all question how much do we really know about our history? I'm Felicia.
And I'm Ian, and we are here to reveal all the sordid details of history that have been swept under the rug. Get ready to get angry, be curious, and maybe have a laugh or two as we rethink our history.
Hello, friends.
Hey guys.
Thanks for joining us for another week of history. If you're a fan of the paranormal and found us here first, give our other show, The Paranormal Lovers, a listen. That show covers everything from ghosts to aliens. Aliens. To cryptids and government conspiracies. It can be found anywhere you can find this show. If you'd like some merch, head on over to our shop at theparanormallovers.threadless.com to get in on our $12.50 t-shirt sale.
That's awesome. I need to get at least one of those.
Yeah. Well, we got a dog to take care of now.
Yeah, I know.
Dang it. If you would like to be a regular supporter of the show, we have a Patreon, one tier at $5 a month over at patreon.com/paranormal lovers. While there, you get early access to both this show and the Paranormal Lovers, as well as 2 stickers a month. One from our merch store, which will be random, and one handmade by that guy.
Drawing.
If you would like to send us a topic request, have a personal story from your family about historical events we may not know much about, send us an email at theparanormallovers@yahoo.com. You can also yell at us for our super liberal views, but be forewarned, I yell back and I'm louder. So this ain't the one to do that on.
Right?
This ain't the one. But I tell you what, guys, I got a tale for you today.
What you got today?
This is an event that it makes me laugh because it's absurd. Right? It's absurd. But in reality, it was a tragedy.
Yeah.
Like, it was a tragedy. Because if you don't know, today we're going to be talking about the Great Molasses Flood.
The Great Molasses Flood.
And if now I say I think it's funny until I had to think about what it's like to get stuck in molasses.
Yeah.
And not be able to breathe.
Oh, that would suck.
Now, for anyone who may not know, quote, molasses is a viscous byproduct obtained from the refining of sugar cane or sugar beet juice into sugar. Molasses varies in the amount of sugar, the method of extraction, and age of plant. Sugarcane molasses is usually used to sweeten and flavor foods. Molasses is a major constituent of fine commercial brown sugar. Molasses is rich in vitamins and minerals, including vitamin B6, iron, calcium, magnesium, and potassium. There are different types of molasses, including first molasses, highest sugar content, second molasses, slightly bitter, and blackstrap molasses, the darkest and most robust in flavor.
I'd like to try some of that.
You've never had molasses?
Mm-mm.
Oh, wow. Molasses was historically popular in the Americas before the 20th century as a sweetener. It is still commonly used in traditional cuisine, such as in Madeira Islands traditional dishes. In addition to culinary uses, molasses has industrial applications, such as in the distillation of rum, additive in mortar, and as a soil amendment to promote microbial activity. The unique flavor and nutritional profile of molasses make it a versatile ingredient with both food and non-food applications, end quote.
Right on.
I'm shocked.
Man, I'm looking at some of these pictures and I'm like, damn.
Yeah, it's wild. It's real wild when you think about it.
Crazy.
I don't know if it's a northern thing. I thought molasses was just kind of like a country thing, but my mother always had a jar of blackstrap.
Yeah.
molasses in the house.
Nice.
I don't like that one as much. I might like the first molasses a little bit better,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe the second molasses because it's a little more bitter. It's
Yeah.
strong. It's a really strong tart flavor. You might like it.
Right.
Um, but no,
I like maple syrup, so
my mother would just pour that shit on a biscuit.
yeah.
Like it'd be dripping with molasses. So I
Nice.
said maybe it's a northern thing because she was from Michigan. I don't know.
Yeah, we always used Cairo. Got the Cairo and butter. Man.
I think I'd rather have the molasses actually.
Yeah.
So I was shocked to learn about the day that a tank holding 2.3 million US gallons of molasses
Wow.
exploded in Boston and ended up taking the life of almost 24 people.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The Purity Distilling Company was a chemical firm that created ethanol through the fermentation process. At their facility at 529 Commercial Street near Keeney Square, they would offload molasses into a large tank before they transferred it by pipeline to their plant in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Hmm.
Sorry, y'all. I can't imagine seeing a pipeline and being like, yeah, there's molasses in that. Like, what? It's kind of like oil.
Right.
Kind of looks like oil.
Yeah.
The tank was 50 feet or 15 meters tall, 90 feet or 27 meters in diameter, and again would hold up to 22.3 million US gallons or 8,700 metric meters of fluid.
Wow.
On January 13th, 1994, 5, 1919. I think I got the date right. I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah, 1919.
My brain's not working today. A delivery of molasses had been made to the Commercial Street plant. The new molasses had been warmed to make it easier to transport, then was mixed with the colder molasses that was left in the tank.
Hmm.
On the day of the 15th, the temperature rose above 40 degrees Fahrenheit or 4 degrees Celsius, which was much warmer than it had been in the days prior. It is thought that it was possibly the thermal expansion of the older molasses in the tank that caused an explosion around 12:30 p.m.
Dang.
Some witnesses claim that, quote, they felt the ground shake and heard a roar as it collapsed, a long rumbling similar to the passing of an elevated train. Others reported a tremendous crashing, a deep growling, a thunder like bang, and a sound like a machine gun as the rivets shot out of the tank, end quote.
Damn.
Pop, 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 pop. Can you imagine? That's fucking terrifying as well.
Yeah.
Now, molasses is much denser than water, and due to that, it has a huge amount of potential energy. Once the tank collapsed, this energy caused a 25-foot or 8-meter wave
Jesus.
of molasses to rush at 35 miles an hour or 56 kilometers an hour through the streets of the city.
Wow. But that destroyed a lot of shit.
The walls of the tank were violently pushed into an elevated railway and momentarily knocked a train off the track of the L. It actually
What?
mangled the fuck out of that railway.
That's crazy. So it derailed a train.
Derailed a train. It removed buildings off of their foundation. Like,
God.
yeah, there was a fire station across the street where a bunch of firefighters were hanging out playing cards with
Oh,
the door
no.
open. An article in the Boston Post states, quote, molasses, waist deep, covered the street and swirled and bubbled about the wreckage. Here and there struggled a form, whether it was an animal or human being was impossible to tell. Only an upheaval, a thrashing about in the sticky mass showed where any life was. Horses died like so many flies on sticky paper. The more they struggled, the deeper in the mess they were ensnared. Human beings, men and women, suffered likewise. End quote. Blocks and blocks of the city were flooded with 2 to 3 feet of molasses. Buildings had been swept clean off their foundations and crushed in the wave. After it settled to a stop, it began to harden.
Oh, no.
because let's remember it only got up to 40 degrees that day,
Right.
and then it started cooling off.
Yeah.
For those who had not been in the immediate path of the flood, some were hit by debris flown at them by the blast, and others were thrown off their feet by like the pressure from the blast.
Sure.
For those in the past, once the molasses cooled, many found themselves trapped in the hardened flood, while others had been drowned in the wave. In total, 21 people and dozens of horses died that day, and over 150 people were injured.
That's crazy.
hmm One of the most common complaints after the flood was coughing fits, because again, people were inhaling molasses into their lungs.
Mm.
You're not supposed to put sugar in your lungs.
No.
To the rescue were 116 cadets from what is now known as the Massachusetts Maritime Academy, under the direction of Lieutenant Commander H.J. Copeland from the USS Nantucket. I love saying that word, Nantucket. The ship was docked at a pier nearby, and the cadets ran the several blocks into the flood to begin rescuing people and keeping people back from the mess. Soon, other authorities arrived at the scene and would end up having to make a makeshift hospital in a nearby building. After 4 days, the rescue effort was called off. Many of those who had been killed in the wave were so glazed over that they were hard to be recognized. They were fucking glazed.
Wow.
It like the mosquito in Jurassic Park. That's what these people looked like. It's a terrible comparison, but
Right.
that's unfortunately what they looked like.
That's
Some
wild.
victims had been swept into the harbor. Sorry. Into the Boston Harbor. I can't. Y'all, I swear to God,
Into the crick.
this is like one of the biggest symptoms of my neurodivergence is there's certain words I can't say without an accent because I've learned to say them with the regional accent.
Yeah.
Like I can't say mime without a Massachusetts or a Minnesota accent. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, so they were swept into the harbor.
Water.
Oh God, shut up. And it took 3 to 4 months for their bodies to be recovered. Shortly after the flood, the United States Industrial Alcohol Company was sued by 119 residents in a class action lawsuit. USIA had purchased Purity Distilling in 1917. USIA attempted to say that the tank had been blown up by anarchists. By God, because it's World War II. World War One. And they don't want us using this stuff to make shells,
Pancakes.
mortars, and stuff. Well, they said it's used in making mortars.
Oh, okay.
For bombs, rockets. Right. So they're trying to say, well, that some anarchists came and blew it up. But after 3 years of trials and hearing, USIA was found responsible and were forced to pay out around $628,000 USD, or around $11 million in 2023.
For those, not a lot.
No, it's not. For those victims who lost their lives, their families received roughly 7,000 USD per victim, or about 123,000 in 2023. It probably took about a year to clean up all of the molasses from the city. God damn, I can't even imagine. I mean, like, you'd have a job for a year, but not only did they have to use salt water, they would use salt water to rinse the molasses and then sand to like dry it up to handle the bulk of the mess. But due to everyone coming down to the site, whether it be workers or onlookers, because you can imagine everybody's like, hey, you want to go down to the molasses?
Let's go swim in some molasses.
Let's go check out the molasses. I bet we can skate on it. Like, don't do that. There's a dead person in there. Stop. God dang.
Yeah.
But whether it was workers or onlookers, when they left, they would track molasses the whole way home. So they would get on trains, get in taxis, touch doors, touch Telephone, like what are those things that we used to use on the phones in the street?
A
Payphones.
payphone?
Thank you. Jesus Christ. Yes, for you young folk, we used to use phones on the side of the sidewalk that you had to pay for.
Yep.
And it would all be like, bloop, 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 bloop. You're running out of time. Shut up, bitch. So everything was sticky.
Sticky.
Sticky. And they said that even
What's
the
up?
water in the harbor. They said even the water in the harbor was brown until the summer.
Oh man. Yeah, because it probably just sank.
And
It's more dense.
real good. It smelled. It smelled.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. So in
Wonder
this
if
show,
wonder if that stuff's flammable.
well, probably once it's fermented,
Right.
because you can make ethanol through the fermentation process using molasses. I don't think molasses in its just molasses form is flammable,
Right.
unless you like, I don't know, get it on the stove maybe.
Well, yeah, I mean, like once put a spark to it, or a flame to it.
Well, I'm actually sitting here thinking, I don't know. You could probably like glaze it like a creme brulee,
Yeah.
Kind of like that. I really don't think it's flammable.
Probably
I don't
not
know.
like super flammable though.
Yeah. So sometimes in the show, I will listen to victims' names if I know them. Um, and it's not a super duper long list. So this week we are going to say their names so that they are not forgotten because
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just wild to die in a molasses
I mean,
flood.
I've never heard about this before, so
Right.
it's wild.
Yeah. Quote Patrick Breen, 44, William Brogan, 61, Bridget Claudery, 65, Stephen Claudery, 34, John Callahan, 43, Maria D'Estacio, 10,
Dang.
William Duffy, 58, not Fisherman Duffy, Peter Francis, 64, Flamino Gallerani, 37, Pascal Ian Tosca, 10. Those are hard to say. I don't know why.
Because the kids.
Yeah. James J. Kinley, 48. Eric Lillard, 17. George Lythe, 38. James McMullen, 46. Caesar Nicolo, 32. Thomas Noonan, 43. Peter Sognessy, 18. John M. Schieberleek, 39. And Michael Sonnet, 78. End quote. And I'm sorry if I butchered their names. Don't come at me. I live in Western North Carolina. My vocabulary is shit. I'm sorry. So, what exactly caused this tragedy? Probably a combination of things. For one, the tank had leaked from the very first day it was filled.
Oh man, that's not good.
Allegedly. It had fucking leaked from the very first day it had been filled.
Right.
It was also noted that it was poorly built and had not been tested properly. They never did a fill test on it with water.
Yeah, that's no good.
Like, what? You got to do a fucking fill test.
Yeah.
Like, what? Huh. The exact point of the explosion was pinpointed to a manhole cover and a fatigue crack in the rivet.
Yep.
Not actually in the rivet, but like the hole of the rivet.
Right.
Now, I do not know the specifics of this because, well, I just don't. But from what I gather, it is better to keep fluid in a tank versus letting it get empty and sit empty.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did they let it get empty, but they had only filled it 8 times in 2 years. So there's that. Quote, putting the walls under an intermittent say, I don't know this word. CYCLICAL.
Say it again.
CYCLICAL. Cyclical load?
Cyclical?
Cyclical load, maybe. From what's funny is I don't understand it, but there's like something in the back of my mind that's nagging me. That's like a little fact that's like, if you keep the tank full, it'll keep like an even pressure in the tank.
Sure.
But if you let it get empty and then it gets hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, those walls are going to like flex
Yeah.
and it's going to end up putting a lot of stress.
Sure.
And I don't know why I have that piece of information in the back of my brain, but it's there.
I mean, it makes sense. Like,
Um,
I'm sure tanks like that are made to like have stuff in them all the time.
yeah, I feel like maybe it was the fact that like somebody had told me when they came to fill up our kerosene heater once, like our tank,
Mm-hmm.
when we had like a big old kerosene tank outside and you'd have to get it filled up like 100 gallons of kerosene. I think one of them guys told me, but I don't know
Yeah.
why I know that.
Well, I mean, the pressure to hold it up versus the pressure of the stuff pushing outwards, like, should roughly equal.
Yeah.
So,
In an investigation after the flood, it was found that Arthur Gell, USIA's treasurer, who had no architectural or engineering experience, so he's the one that did not do a water test for leaks. And it leaked so bad, he was like, you know what? Paint it brown.
yeah, because that'll fix it.
No. They didn't want to fix it. They just didn't want you to see it.
Yeah.
But what's funny is it leaked so much that people that lived in the area would come with jars and just collect molasses off the side of the tank
There you go.
and just take it home. So
the people loved it.
people were like, hey, it's fine by me. But I'll get there. Hang on. This tank had been built quickly as World War I had recently begun, and there was a demand for industrial alcohol. Gell would also ignore the noises the tank made each time it got filled with molasses.
Chew.
Which probably largely comes from the fact that the metal used for the tank was half the thickness required for a tank of that size. And that is according to the standards of the time.
Damn.
Adding to the weakness of the tank was the fact that the metal also did not have any manganese in it, making it much more brittle. Also, they used flawed rivets for the tank, and it was the rivet holes that started cracking first.
Damn.
So it was just like, okay, well, so you don't do a water check on it to see that it leaks.
Everything that you could do wrong, they did.
And instead of actually fixing it on, one of the million times that it was empty, because you only filled it 8 times, you could have had somebody go in there and weld the rivets or something. But no, you're just like, paint it brown.
They needed an engineer.
Yeah, it wasn't him. It wasn't that guy. He had no fucking engineering skills whatsoever.
Right.
Like, ugh. The area where the tank sat is now Landgun Park. There is a small plaque at the entrance of a neighboring park, Pupolo Park. It's Puo, right? Pupolo Park. That says, quote, on January 15th, 1919, a molasses tank at 529 Commercial Street exploded under pressure, killing 21 people. A 40-foot wave, it says 25, of molasses buckled the elevated railroads, crushed the buildings, and inundated the neighborhood. Structural defects in the tank combined with unseasonably warm temperatures contributed to the disaster, end quote. So this event has become part of the lore, especially for like the north end of Boston where it happened. Not only because of the devastation and destruction, but also because they said for like a decade in the summertime you could smell molasses throughout the city.
Wow.
It was like soaked into the foundation of Boston.
Right.
And that's why we have baked beans. No, I'm just joking.
Molasses beans.
Mm-hmm. Many laws and regulations were put in place after this accident. One of the most important, in my opinion, is the requirement for oversight from a licensed architect and civil engineer.
Yeah.
And that, folks, I feel like I didn't finish my notes on that one, but that's okay. It's been a week, y'all. And now we have a dog with a broke dew claw, but
Yeah.
it's fine. That, folks, is the Great Molasses Flood.
Wow, that's crazy.
That story has also been living rent free in my head for the last few years.
I wonder if there's any like ghost stories that go along with it.
I can imagine.
It's like the
Like,
energy of all of it.
I bet any hotel or like house in that area, you just randomly smell molasses throughout the day.
Yeah.
You're like, is it a ghost or is it the ground? I'm not sure. I mean, it's been 105 years since it happened,
Yeah, it's a
but
long time.
still, like, molasses.
Yeah,
Molasses, bro.
it's nuts.
Like, but like, it's funny, right? But think about getting stuck
The terror of it.
in
Yeah.
a flood of molasses and getting sucked down in that. And like, it's like quicksand.
Mm-hmm.
The harder you fight to get out of it, the more it's just going to suck you in.
Makes me think of the never ending story.
Right? The fucking horse.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. That's what was happening to the horses. And that's really sad. That broke me more than anything. I was like,
Yeah.
not the horses.
Right.
What did the poor ponies ever do?
I remember when you was writing your notes and you're like, the horses. I'm like, what?
It's sad.
It is.
I was imagining them like poor guys, like, because I can't even imagine, like, you're just sitting there and then all of a sudden, like, you hear this like loud growl, right? Right. And it sounds like a train's coming. And you turn around and look, and there's just fucking wall of brown shit.
Just moving.
And it just
I wonder if it
sweeps
moved like
everything.
slowly or if it was like quick like water.
I want to say it was pretty quick because it literally swept buildings off of their foundation.
That's nuts, man.
It was, yeah, it was quick because of like the potential energy that it had inside of it,
Yeah.
especially from where it had like started to like warm up.
Well, if it's denser, it's heavier than water, so
Yeah,
it should move faster.
it moves faster. Yeah, faster. That's why nobody could get out of the way.
That's
It
crazy.
was just like, bam, here comes the molasses. Molasses. I really wish my mom was alive. She would fucking get a kick out of the story, man.
Yeah.
She'd be sitting there eating her molasses like, that's fucking crazy. Shit's so good. I do love some molasses. If y'all haven't tried it, I don't know how to describe it. It's sweet. It has an earthy, woodsy flavor to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's unique.
Right.
It's very, very unique. And if you haven't tried it, go get you some. Try it. It's good stuff. But
Yeah.
stay out of the way.
Yeah.
It's holy shit. And I'm not sure what I'm doing next week. So come back and find out, guys.
Yeah.
But go get you some merch.
Like, comment, subscribe.
All that good stuff.
All
Also,
of it helps.
let me know if you want me to make a separate Instagram page for this podcast because I've been thinking about it, but I'm not sure if I want to take on that extra responsibility. But like, I don't really have anything else going on right now. So
Yeah.
why not? All right, guys. Thanks for joining us for this lesson this week, and we will see you guys next week.
See you guys.
Love you. Bye.
Love you.